Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of Talking Times podcast. I'm Maick Ofel, your host, and today we're going to talk about something that I particularly love, that is video games. I'm here with Carlos Eduardo, Cadu, and he's a game expert. You're going to meet him right after our intro. Cadu, thank you so much for being here, man.
Oh, hello, man. I was playing here. Let me turn off.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Man,
No problems.
can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
All right. So, I am Kadu. I am a Times teacher. So, I have been teaching for some time, and here at Times, it's been a nice experience, you know.
Okay.
So, well, I'm here to talk about games today, guys.
All right, let's start from the scratch. What was the first game you ever played, or the first console you ever played? What's the story behind this?
All right, that's a funny story.
Okay.
Because I got my first console when I was, I think, 6 or 5.
6?
Yeah, it was really early. So I got it was a PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Okay. But I say PlayStation 1 between quotes.
Okay.
Why? Because I never knew that I used like tapes, to play this game. But usually the PlayStation 1, usually we use, CDs. So
Yeah.
something was wrong. And after some time, I realized that I was not playing at a PlayStation 1. I was playing a Polystation.
How did you find out?
Well, after I got my first computer,
Yeah.
I searched for these pictures, for PlayStation 1. And after I got the PlayStation 2. So when I checked and I said, okay, but here it was supposed to have a CD. Why I used tapes my whole life? What happened? And then I found out that it was a PlayStation.
Man, there's an interesting story. When I was a teenager, there was this kid in the building I used to live,
All right.
and he was like, "Oh, guys, you see, kids are very mean sometimes." And he said, "I got a PlayStation," And when he got he invited everybody to go to his house. When we saw the console with the pistol, said, "Man, that's not a PlayStation." He started crying, and then we played
Oh,
together. It was
my
like kids are very mean sometimes. Okay, and you mentioned that you were 5, so that's very early.
Yes,
was like a
exactly.
Christmas gift or something like this.
Well, I remember that I always wanted a video game. Since I was little, I saw my other friends with lots of video games, and I said, "Hey, Mom, I really need, a console." And she said, "Okay, but I can afford, these high-end consoles. So, but I'll try." And then she gave me this, and I said, "Okay, this is like,
The dream
really
one.
high tech. I didn't know about it." So I got like dozens of tapes, dozens of different games, and even the pistol that you said, the gun. But I never realized that it was actually an NS.
Yeah,
So-
and what was the first game because it was like cartridges, right? Like
Yes,
the
exactly.
tapes.
Exactly.
What was the first game you ever played there?
Well, I played the first Super Mario Bros. So yeah, the classic one, And I remember that I used to play with my aunt. So she played with me as Luigi, and we always played together. Yeah, like I played almost my whole childhood this game,
Yeah,
after I
that's very
explored
nice.
other games.
So it was something you used to do not only by yourself, but you had a partner to play with you.
Yes, exactly. And there is a picture of me playing, and she's also behind me because sometimes I used to play by myself, so alone, and sometimes she used to play with me, following being Luigi, and I was the leader. So I said, "Hey, you follow me, okay? What I do, you do with me here."
It's something that people sometimes they kind of don't pay attention that you have that stereotype of the lonely wolf gamer, and you can also use your games for a social interaction with.
Exactly.
Yeah, my first game buddy was my father, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had this Mega Drive, and we used to play the FIFA 90 something, 96, 97.
All right.
And he was very sweet actually because he had like a hard time playing, you know. But I have a suspicion that he was kind of letting me win, you know.
Oh, that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. It was like that, the dynamics between you and your aunt.
Kind of like most of the time she helped me with some things, you know, because but I found all the Easter eggs from this game, so I was the leader some parts, but there are most of the the challenges that I had in this game, I think we learned together, you know, how to
Okay.
deal with them. So that connected us really strong because I don't know, but we kind of create a bind with that game, you know.
Nice.
And I always grew up with her or with my mom beside me, you know, always giving me this opportunity to play different games and
Nice.
exploring more.
And it's very interesting because people worry about parenting when we talk about kids playing a game. It's a way that you can kind of solve two problems. You will have some quality time with the kid,
Yes.
and at the same time, you make sure that it's not playing something that would be, I don't know, like bad for the age of the kids, you know.
Got it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Guys, if you have suggestions of games, questions, okay, send them. I'm gonna be checking the chat, okay, during the broadcast. You mentioned the picture, Carlos. Do you have it with you?
Oh yes, I brought it with me. Okay, a picture of me playing. You in this picture you were able to see, you know, the card inside the PlayStation 1, and you say, okay, what is happening here, you know?
I
But I
wanna
never
see.
realized.
Can we put it on the screen, guys? I wanna see that. Ah, okay. It's like you said. It's like the there is one that you showed me that was like Kelly Key one, the meme.
Oh yes, exactly. So this one, well, we used to sit in front of the sofa, you know, and follow. So this time, this picture, I think was my mom. You know, my mom got a camera and she said, "Hey guys, look here," and then I was like giving a. It wasn't a like, but
Yeah, you were like here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
You know?
I can see here now, man. That's very nice. And yeah, so the penny dropped when you mentioned, wait, it's not a CT1.
Exactly.
But you already liked the game. You used to play together.
Oh,
so,
it was my first love, you know.
Okay.
I got this when I realized it wasn't so the impact wasn't so hard, you know, because I had so much fun playing it that I didn't have the opportunity to feel bad because it wasn't a PlayStation 1 original one, you know.
And since you had this bond with your aunt, it's something that it has no room for like, but it's not that game. Why comparing? You were having fun, right?
Exactly.
Nice. And how was the dynamics in terms of your routine? You know, it's like you wake up, you would go straight to the game to play. You know, like I can't wait to do that. Or you used to have the outside activities as well, play with other kids.
Okay, that's
Just to know how much time you used to spend there.
That's a nice question because my father was the overprotective father. So I always had the thing that I had a lot of toys, a lot of things to play outside. I had a basketball, I have a soccer ball, I have a bicycle, a scooter, but I couldn't play because he was so afraid that I could hurt myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said to me, "Oh, you cannot play soccer because if you play, I am afraid that you step on the ball and hit your head." So it was something really extreme, and I was like, "Okay, so what should I do? You know, if I cannot like leave my house to play with my friends on the street?" And he said, "Okay, I have this, you know," and then they gave to me a lot of video games, a lot of, you know, my first computer as well. So I spent most of the time playing those games.
Yeah, that's surprising because you are an extroverted person. You speak in an articulate way. So you are breaking another stereotype that if you start early and you are introverted, the game will kind of, it would be something set in stone, like, so you have problem communicating, socializing. Nothing like that with you, right?
Oh yes, but that's why I started working really early, so with public. So with that, I started interacting with people early, and that helped me a lot, with that. Because when I was little, I was really introverted.
You were then.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. So I had these problems of interacting with people, interacting with girls. So, but after
We all do.
but after some time, I started interacting more with people. But one negative, I would say negative.
Okay.
But one negative thing, it's nowadays if you say, hey, let's play some soccer on Wednesday, or let's play some sport. I am really bad at a bunch of sports. So if you say, hey, let's play soccer, I don't know how to play soccer well.
Okay, understand.
So, yeah, we have this contrast because I didn't have time to spend with my friends. I had one friend that I went to his house a lot, but just to play inside his house. So I couldn't leave my house and play on the streets.
Did he had a game as well?
Yes, but not a high end like my police station, but we had this, and sometimes I used to brought my police station, not my PlayStation, but my police station to his house, and we used to play together.
Okay, you used to live in a house or like condominium or apartment, something like
in
this?
A house, but we lived in the same street, so it's just like crossing the street to get to his house.
What about school, Cadu? Did you have like a group of kids that would talk about games? That I'm asking this to know if you ever had any external influence, because in my case was pretty much it. Like when there was this new game, people would talk about, and sometimes we would go to one another's house to play. And I am a little old. To have a new game, I had to go to. We didn't have like an online store, anything like that. I used to go to those rental stores, on Friday, and then you will rent like 1 or 2 games, and you will spend the weekend playing that, because I had my first console was a Mega Drive,
Nice.
So the influence were the kids. How was with you in school or with your friends?
Well, when I was in the elementary, it was a little bit difficult to find friends to play with me because as I told you, I was really introverted. So I didn't have this ease to interact with people and say, hey, do you like to play games? So that part of my life I spent most of the time at home, school, and home again to play. But after I started the second part of the elementary school, I met new friends, and then I could have the chance. But I already had the computer, so I used to play with them other games. Like
we're gonna go to the transition there. And when you were a kid, were the games in English or they were in Portuguese?
Always in English.
Okay. Can you say that this helped you to have any type of interest about learning the language?
Look,
because we didn't have internet back then, right? So
yes, but I always play those games without getting all the information.
Okay.
But I wasn't that guy. Yeah, I wasn't that self-learner that a lot of people learn with games. So a lot of people play games and say, okay, I don't understand this, so they search on the dictionary. But I wasn't this kind of guy. I didn't understand and I didn't search. So I was like just playing. But nowadays, if I go back and play those games, I have a totally different perspective.
Nice.
So I think this experience is much better than, for me, for example, it's much better than translating everything when you're playing for the first time, because I can understand it and said, okay, now I really get it, why they did like that, why I had those options,
Because I remember, man, maybe you had something similar. When I was playing for the first time, that it was a game that you need to understand the dialogues there, or it would screw it up, and maybe you needed to find one specific object. I would play with a dictionary, and man, it took forever. But a lot of, for example, the word wardrobe, I learned playing Silent Hill. Resident Evil 1 was one of these 2 games. And I have this stuck with me because it was really traumatic in a way. Like, what the hell is a wardrobe? I need to find the item. I know where I have to go now.
Right.
And we used to have those magazines back in the day, like Super Game Power or there we had like a breakthrough the games, so we didn't have YouTube to just go and check.
Exactly.
Have you ever had anything like that? Like you got stuck in a game and then you need this external help, something like this? Before internet, I mean.
Look, I remember that I used to have a magazine, but not for that specifically. But I used to read a lot of Recreio.
Yeah.
Talks about games and
or how to kiss.
yeah, exactly.
Oh no, that was Capricho, sorry.
Yeah, so in this case, I could understand more about some specific stories about the games that I used to play, especially Super Mario, because I never understood when I was young. I never understood why those things happen. You know,
why is he jumping over those turtles?
Exactly. You know, so with that, I could understand better the purposes of the games and all this stuff. So it was really nice.
Oh, let me take a look at the chat here.
All right.
Oh, a lot of messages.
Oh, nice.
Already, nice. Okay. Hi, Claudio. Hi, Victor. Hi, Josie. Okay, yeah. Victor said nostalgic console. Definitely, the PlayStation for me was is a classic. More nostalgic than that, maybe from people from the 80s or the 70s, was the Atari one. You know, that you have that joystick that was like that and a red button here. And when we see the games today, it's like, oh my god, really? That was the trend there? Yes, it was awesome. You know?
Yeah, but fortunately, nowadays I'm able to play on those arcade machines that we have. So I can play those games as well, especially the King of Fighters, which is a game that I really loved. But I just met after after the time.
Teenagehood.
Yes, exactly. So I could play and love this game. So if I play a modern version like after the 2000s, I say no, this is weird. So I usually don't play the King of Fighters from 2000s on, just the previous ones.
Are you good?
Yeah, but I'm good because I just play with Fugal.
Yeah, power one. I used to have.
Yeah, exactly. But Yuri, I think is also nice.
I used to have my ass kicked so bad in this game, man, that I quit because I as a teenager, there was a place here in Campinas that all the kids from our group, we would go after school, or we would go to do like, let's play football in a park, something like this, or some guys would go to bars like to play those games that you have on, because those games that are prohibited here, like the animal game in Brazil.
All right, got it.
The old people and the kids, they would go straight to an arcade and it would be Street Fighter whatever, like a Orange Blanca that could send those sonic boom,
Oh, got it.
like if you play with E Honda or Chun-Li and you keep pressing, you know what I'm talking about, the turbo version.
I played the King of Fighters, this turbo version as well. It was the Super, I think it was the 2002, if I'm not wrong, the Super King of Fighters or King of Fighters 2. So we had infinitive, we say that, I don't know how we say that in English, but I usually had my character like really angry, so I pressed two buttons. But all the time, like we could feel the bars, but really fast, so we could like give a lot of special attacks, a lot of ultimates.
What I used to happen with me, I liked the guy with the red hair, I guess, and the guys from a game called Fatal Fury, Ted Bogger, and I loved those characters. And the guys, they would play the whole afternoon, that they buy like those coins,
Yes.
And man, they would do those infinite combos like. And I say, okay, I can play this. And then I discovered the Marvel versus X-Men versus Capcom.
Oh, yeah, versus everything. Yeah,
Yeah, it is like half a moon in the joystick, and you press 3 buttons. I thought I can do that, and then those I had a bit of luck, you know.
All right.
All right, and now we can play those games on our computers as well, right? It's like
Nowadays, I have, and this is something that I really love about computers. you know.
yeah,
So nowadays, I have this freedom.
you have the
Playing.
95, 96, 97.
Exactly, I can emulate anything. So that's really interesting.
Nice, man. Let's take a look here. Okay, Victor told you someone cheated you with a police station. LOL. Hi, Guilherme. Okay. Oh, Guilherme said you were a great teacher, Cadu.
Oh, thank you,
Man,
man.
this is very sweet. I love when the students they come and join us here, guys. That's
Thank you
very
for
nice.
coming.
Okay, a question from Victor here. Have you ever felt the old school games were better than the new gen games? Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay.
What's your take on that? Or no, there's still nice things being produced.
Look, yeah, there are, but now they produce faster than before. So we had a massive production of games.
Yeah.
That time, back then, we had limited options. So we needed to get used to what we had.
I remember Capcom from old games, basically.
Exactly. But
Konami.
I think the feeling of, the nostalgic feeling, I think that it's much better than, for example, playing a game nowadays, because even if the game was totally, the graphics were totally low or something like that, if we play nowadays, we still feel the same feeling as before. So I think this nostalgic feeling is something that overcomes any recent experience that we can have nowadays.
No, that's a very good point. For example, there are games that's a good thing to let's make a list here, and it goes also. Good question, Victor. It goes also for you guys on the chat. In your perspective, what makes a game being a good game? Graphics, the storyline, the playability, I don't know, what would you say, Kadu? Like, if you can even write if you want, like, to check all the boxes.
Okay, all right. Well, I think there are lots of things. I was expecting you to ask me this question. So I was thinking about it, and there are a lot of aspects related to it. So I took a note here about some interesting things.
Okay.
Okay, when it comes to graphics, I think this is something really delicate to talk about because, for example, I usually play with nowadays I usually play for my girlfriend. So I play and she watches it. So she cares more about the graphics or about games as movies,
Okay.
But if
the realism behind it.
Yes, exactly. So the most realistic are her favorites. So in this case, I really give this importance to graphics, but also the play, the how do you play, the if you play on console, if you play on PC is also important, right? How many times you can play it, because we have this replayability, so how many times I can go back and play again or make a different story or try to break my own record. I think this is also something really important.
And, under a creative perspective, I think this is the hardest thing for maybe I'm speaking out of my, but maybe I'm wrong, but as a game creator, this is probably the biggest challenge.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned a game that we're gonna talk about that later, but that you loved and you had that feeling like it was too quick. The whole experience.
Exactly.
But for example, it's different genre of games. But for example, as an adult, I started playing a young adult Metal Slug. It's a basic, I think it's a Neo Geo arcade game, and then they adapted. Even today, if I play that, I have fun.
That's the thing,
Like over and over.
Exactly. Some games, they are really popular by their replayability. Some other games are really famous for their stories. I have some recommendations that I will
Nice.
talk about furthermore. And also here I have difficulty, which is something really important. Like if you play a game that you have you feel stressed all the time, or you cannot, you cannot
Mauricio,
go...
you cannot play a lot of games.
Yeah, if we play those games and we find this, but of course, it's also bad when the games are really easy. So, I think this balancing is really important as well.
Oh, okay.
And it comes to the innovation as well.
Yeah.
Different experiences you got with different games.
One way we talked before we started here that people do, like, okay, I want you to play a game, so I will give you maybe new items so you can use, like you mentioned in the Star Wars game, or maybe you have an additional character to play. I remember a game, it was one of the recent Batman games, recent and maybe it's 5 years old, but that when you finish you could play a side story with Harley Quinn. I think it was something like this, or was another side, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, another side quest, So in a way I could play again the game, but just because it was a different character, it was in a way a different experience as well,
That's the thing.
And in terms of graphics, what would you say are the top ones now?
Well,
Let's
recently...
give them some recommendations.
Recently, I played The Quarry. I think it impressed me. The Quarry is for computers, for desktop computers. The graphics are amazing. It looks like you are watching a movie.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I think The Quarry... I think games that are, long... for a long time you can play and they still have good graphics will be Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's beautiful. Yeah,
so I think this game impresses a lot with not only graphics but the quantity of details you have within the game. Also
people do all type of messy stuff in the game, like grab a person and throw to a crocodile.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you can do in this game.
Yeah, it's the same what happens to me when I play Skyrim. Like I start to get my horse, and that's a beautiful mountain, let's go there in like 2 hours.
Yes, exactly.
Horizon was a game that when it was released, the graphics kind of impressed me.
As well. Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption as well. The Witcher, I would say.
Of course.
But it's not like a movie, but you have this freedom to.
Forza as well. It's a racing game.
Nice.
It also impresses.
You mentioned that you play for her. Like, does she get emotional when you're playing too? Like,
depending on the story. As I said, she likes, she gives this value to the graphics, so she likes more games more related to nice stories and emotional, as you said. So,
okay.
But she's, she welcomes a lot of different games. So this is really nice. And we had a lot of emotional moments playing some games like The Walking Dead.
Damn,
It's a game that you have choices, and if you make a wrong choice, if you select a wrong option, maybe you kill someone, you kill an important character. So I think those emotional games are really important, for learning.
And then you get it's like exactly like you said, it's like you're watching a movie, so you get attached to some characters.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if it happened to you. Okay, that's weird, but I'm gonna share. I have this dog in Skyrim. Whenever I'm doing a mission and my dog dies, I reload the game and play again. Because the dog, if you play Skyrim, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mirko. The dog is so brave. I'm fighting a gigantic dragon, and the dog goes there to bite the dragon and help. No, it's adorable. So I can't stand if the dog dies. Have you ever done something similar, like a character that you liked in the story, and say, oh my god, I need to go back and change it?
Man, that's a little bit complicated. When I'm playing games, I cannot play with animals or other stuff because I cannot afford playing by myself. That sometimes when I have an animal or some character like that, I usually end up killing the animal, but not on purpose. You know, like for example, if you have a horse in the game, I try to get downhill, and usually tragic things happen. Yes, exactly. So, but yes, I have already tried to restart the game or close the game or force closing to see if I can go back on my previous save. Some games it's possible to do that.
Yeah.
But some games, you cannot do that, so you need to face the consequences.
Okay, what are the games that you can't change at all? There are good games that you mentioned one. I forgot the name. Sorry, but you have like one shot of doing the right thing.
All right, I think Beyond. It's a really good game, and you have those choices. Right, The Walking Dead is also a game with choices that if
Take
you
notes, guys.
Yeah, exactly. The quarry that I mentioned, but in this case you have 3 lives. So if someone dies, you can use one of these 3 lives. But all of those games that we have choices, we usually are able to, not we are not able to go back and try to save the character, so I think those games are really good because it helps you to think more about it, to think more before.
Not impulsive.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I think those games really help us, thinking before acting, and if we bring to the real life, also happens with us when we are making an important voice.
Do you get anxious when you play? Like really?
Depending on the game, yes, but horror, it's a different level of anxiousness. I think I am really, I don't like chasing. So, for example, if I'm playing Outlast, which is a game that I am running from crazy people all the time, I had this, I feel horrified, if I have to run from someone in the game. I usually pause if I get really anxious, but I usually try to run. But if you look at me, I am like, really like afraid of I feel that. I really feel that.
That's a very unique human thing, so far as we can tell, that we suffer a lot just inside our heads with something that we know is not real, like watching a movie. We are so much there in the present that we're like, oh my god, it's a movie,
Exactly.
And it's just a game, but like, that happened with me the first time I ever played the first Silent Hill. I was with my friend, I think 2 friends actually, and until that point in our lives, that had never happened. Like, you are playing a game, man, I don't want to continue. Go, continue now. It was normally the other way around. Like, oh, you play too much, let me play. And then we had to time, like 20 minutes each, and then we switch. With this game, especially when we enter in the school, and you start hearing like a child, some child's laughing, and there is this doll that starts like and start chasing you. It doesn't do anything, but it's creepy as hell, And we couldn't play the game. Like, okay, go you, no, go you.
Everyone trying.
Yeah, because we were scared to play.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look here. Have you ever stopped playing a game because it was too damn scared? Something like that?
It happens with modern PS1 graphics. Like, for example, we have some games. People are creating games inspired on PS1 graphics. So in this case, it's usually a horror game, and it follows a classic graphic because it's easy to create, and it's also really nice. So sometimes it's a short game, sometimes it's a long game.
I'm gonna share with them here the website.
Oh yes, please. And some games, they especially one game I tried to play, it was really difficult because every time I saw the killer, he started chasing me really fast, and I couldn't escape. So I couldn't do anything, and it's dying all the time because you are afraid. I think it's something that happens. I see a lot of streamers getting tired or getting used to the killer after some time. I think this is something that it's really important to be balanced, you know, like imagine you die so many times to someone in a game, and then you do not feel that anymore, like you do not feel afraid anymore of the bad guy or the killer. So I think they need to balance this, and this is really important on games.
Yeah, you kind of you are not sensitive anymore to that, to get used to it.
Yeah.
All right. It's on the chat. Okay, guys. This is thank you so much, man. It's a website that even if you don't have like a high-end PC gamer with all those fancy things, because of it's based on PlayStation 1, it's more accessible, right?
Yes. Exactly.
And he showed me here was very interesting. A game that you can play like in 20 minutes. You have an experience. The whole game, no spoilers. All right, let's take a look here. All right, Victor said here, okay, I read. Rafael, okay. GTA, Grand Theft Auto, is the best game for me. I am usually on American service to practice my English. Okay, being an English teacher, that's a interesting thing. Can we actually play and learn? Can we learn English with video games, man?
Of course, when you are starting your studies with English, it's really important that you surround yourself by English. So it's not like only having 1 hour per day to interact with English. So if you play games, it's really important that you have this interaction, that you try to understand the context. I think this helped me a lot during my career, and a lot of other people learn with games. So I think this is really important, especially because imagine they are talking about something and there is a message hidden there that you need to understand to unlock another level or to go to a different place. So I think this is really good, especially games that you have a lot of dialogue, so you can understand, you can check all the sentences. I think this is really good and help us a lot to learn how to play and how to understand a common conversation.
Yeah, and even if you play on your own or with other people, you will have someone else to chat.
Exactly.
Like we had a game class there, the school using the game Fall Guys. It is like the Faustão Olympics with like some funny characters. You just have to run and you have all these obstacles. But it's so fun to do in a group because you have to give directions to one another. No, man, go here, over there, jump, dock. So you have a lot of fun doing that.
Okay.
You mentioned the King of Fighters. Do you play other types of fighting games too, like Mortal Kombat, the UFC ones?
Yeah, the last one that I played was Mortal Kombat, but those games I really now those modern games I just play sometimes, because every time that I play with someone that I know that plays well, for example, my brother-in-law, he plays really well, but all the time that I play with him, he always beats me with any character. So that frustration of always losing the game, and I don't have the willing of searching all the combos, or getting better in this game just to beat him.
I had this a hug for you, Marcio, if you are watching this. I had this friend, Marcio. We used to play a lot of fighting games, Primal Rage, Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur was amazing. We loved. And he's good with these games. He's actually a Kung Fu, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA practitioner too. So he teaches fight. He knows the whole thing.
Right.
And he used to kick my ass until we started playing the game Tekken, especially the third one, that you have two characters. That's my tip for you guys. You can play with Horang, it's the Taekwondo player, or the guy who fights Capoeira, Eddie Gordo, I think. It's basically it's the perfect game for like me, a newbie. You just do random things and the guy's gonna do something awesome there, like a twist and then like
this usually
happens.
Kick. Yeah, if you are playing with your family, this will happen. Like your father or your brother. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they perform better than you that usually have combos, right? Usually have the correct. Oh my gosh, I remember that I had a lot of trouble playing those kind of games, fighting games with people that I say, hey, here. Okay, play with me and you see how you should play, and then after that.
Fancy combo and movement.
Yeah, but I got like a really hard time trying to beat them because they just press all the buttons at the same time, and they usually did great combos that I didn't know about it.
My father would kick my ass with like the first time he learned how to do like the Liu Kang fireball. What? All
the time.
And I got angry, and then I remember that he wasn't letting me win. Because when he learned how to do those movements, he wouldn't stop. Like
I stopped playing Mortal Kombat after I got like really the entire night losing the game to my friend playing with Kitana. He was playing with Kitana, and I swear I spent more than 6 hours trying to beat him, but I couldn't. I lost all the matches. He was playing with Kitana and he was spamming different combos, and I couldn't play. I couldn't. Exactly. So after that, I stopped playing Mortal Kombat.
Okay. In the chat, guys, have you ever got so angry that you broke? No, I'm just kidding. That you stopped playing? Or I know, because we see videos, but some of them are kind of made up. But have you ever got so angry that you stopped playing? Like, I'll never play this thing again. Okay, let me see what. Okay, questions to Kadu as well. Okay, all right. Marcel mentioned here Sonic, Mario, or Donkey Kong. Oh, okay. I had a Mega Drive, so I was a Sonic guy. What about you, Kadu?
Man, I think my first game was I was playing here before we started. I was playing
no bullying with the police station.
And the first game I had was Mario, so I think Mario it's my favorite. Donkey Kong is also really good, as a platform game. Sonic I played a lot of times, but it was the things were happening really fast, so I couldn't follow when I was young, because I don't know. It was a lot of things happening at the same time. So in that case, I prefer to play Mario because I could think before doing something.
Okay. Hi Gustavo. Hi Ney. Ney asked about the quantity of video games at the same time. How many did you have? Like simultaneously, you have, for example, a Mega Drive, a PlayStation,
well, at the same
was one at a time?
I couldn't have a lot of different consoles at the same time, but I had this progress of from PlayStation to PlayStation 2, and it was original. So I spent years playing on PlayStation until I got my first computer, and then I got an Xbox 360, and then after that an Xbox One, and now my current computer that I play all the games.
Okay. That's a good question, Nate. About that, do you play in the computer just because you are used to it, or do you think it's more productive? Like comparing console, this is actually a kind of discussion that's trendy online. Oh, you are an Xbox or a Sony guy, Microsoft or Sony, then people will fight over that. And then you have the way out. I'm a PC gamer, So which one would you recommend, or do you prefer, man?
Okay, I'll give my honest opinion here.
Okay.
All right. Xbox, I think there are a lot of free games if you have the Game Pass. That's
nice.
a good thing. On PlayStation is really good, but you have a lot of exclusives that are coming to PC. So that's one thing that I don't recommend the PlayStation, right? Because you pay 200 reais or more for an exclusive game, and then after some years it will come to computer. I think my biggest recommendation is that you get a computer if you know how to separate, how to choose a nice computer. But if you have if you are a casual player, you can buy a console like an Xbox, You know, if you are a
Are you being
father.
sponsored, man? By no, just kidding.
No, not exactly, but I think it's really portable and it's really simple, right?
Yeah.
Because depending on the what you want to do with that, you know, I think.
No, it makes total sense. I told you before, I preferred the PlayStation because of the games like God of War, The Witcher. But when I was about to buy my console as an adult, I bought a 362 because it was more affordable, and I don't know who was my friend said, "No, Mike, you're gonna enjoy more. Trust me." That's okay, man. I trust you. And my friend at the time, he had a PlayStation, so no, buy the Xbox so we can play the exclusives as well. He loved Halo. I think Forza was one of the games. Yeah, no, he was a Halo fanatic, you know, and. Where would you recommend our listeners to go if, for example, they're like me, I have no idea how to set a good PC gamer. So is there any type of YouTube channel, forum, or a place you could go to have this type of guidance?
Look, to be honest, when I first built my PC, I had the help of my brother-in-law.
Nice.
He recommended me, and then I checked. I started studying about it, and then I could learn how the components work, how they match themselves. But of course, you have a lot of YouTube videos if you want to understand more how to match the components. You know what is available to pay, because remember that you cannot have biggest differences, you know, because if you have a motherboard and not a bad motherboard, but you have a high-end video, you know, I think that's the thing. You need to match the components to have a great computer. So if you don't know about it, you can study, you can go on YouTube channels, you can, you have websites that help you building your own computer. So you can like building according to their recommendations, you know. But the only thing that I don't recommend is buying computers at those stores, you know, that we have on shopping malls.
Yeah.
Because they will try to sell something random.
Yeah.
You know?
They will sell a game in a very positive way and say you can play games here.
Exactly. So.
And then you can play that Spaceballs. You know, you can...
Yeah, I had this experience, so I don't recommend, guys. But if you don't know, if you're just a casual player that plays sometimes, that only plays soccer or, you know, a fighting game, you can buy a console from your preference. I think it's easier to manage, to install games. Of course, you need to afford the games that you will download it there. But it's easier to manage.
You cannot be on a budget too if you want to set a nice PC gamer, right? Because or can you do not spending that much money?
Yeah, I spend a regular quantity of money on my computer.
When they say that, guys, it's normally the price of a Celta, okay?
Yes, but the thing is that you can upgrade as you buy a car. You know?
Exactly.
You can upgrade, you can put better components. So I think that's the good part of a computer, the customization. But of course, if you cannot afford, you can buy a console. It's easier. You don't need to install any component. You don't need to study for something. You know. But I truly recommend PC.
Okay.
The best option of choosing how to install games and also doing other stuff.
I you kind of helped me to change my perspective because I like diversity. You know, I like options. Like I want to play a Sony game, Microsoft one. So maybe that would be a good way to go, right? So I will need to help you with that. All right, let's go back to the chat here. Okay, hi Willie. He used to learn a lot from games, he said. Nostalgic. Yeah, me too. I mentioned a game, guys. Tell me if you know, the first game that I really got emotional and I spent 92 hours. It's a game called Vandal Hearts 2. It's like an RPG game. I loved that. It's like the hero's journey, a lot of dialogues, and like a very old school like you said, chess-like RPG game, you know. Have you played this one too?
Yeah.
Man, I loved that. You know, I've never played it first though. And have you ever got very emotional with the game? I have a friend, Stefano. Hi, Stefano. He loves Final Fantasy. And he's the one that when the game is over, he would roll all the credits, like listen to the music, cry because of the story. You know, have you ever got this touched by a game, Cadu?
Well, there is a game, I would say my favorite, you know. This game, it's I mentioned before, it is Red Dead Redemption. It's a game that talks about revenge, and the story, it's I think one of the best stories of all the games that have ever existed, because not give spoilers, but the story, it's really amazing. I cried, to be honest.
The horse dies.
Oh my gosh! Look, it's I have, you know, when things happen there, I got like really speechless with the things, and I play with my girlfriend, so we had the same, you know, we share the same feeling, and I think this game really had an impact in my life.
Yeah, maybe they will make an adaptation with Pedro Pascal too.
Why not? You know?
I would love to see that. Gustavo also said here. Hi, Gustavo. I learned a lot of slang with GTA San Andreas. Oh my God.
A classic.
CG. Mother Ducker. Marvel vs. Capcom is very good. Hi, Andrea. Okay. NSK2, you know that? I think it's one of the companies we were talking about.
Okay.
Okay, Victor, in my opinion, what makes a game good is that it's fun. Yeah. Yeah, so don't play Dark Souls, it's not very fun. I'm joking. Okay, it's fun and it's a good story, okay? That's why Super Mario is one of the most successful. Oh yeah, even today, right? We have the movie there. Graphics, Willie said graphics here. Okay.
Nice.
Victor Escadu said difficulty is important. Have you ever tried Dark Souls? There we go. Have you ever tried Contra? Okay, you get stressed because your character dies a lot. Yeah, before I ask you about the Mario movie, that's something that I want to wrap it up with you. There is this thing that the old games, they were very simple and you got entertained, but there is like a trend now that the recent games, in a way, you have those amazing graphics, you have this story with a lot of depth as well. But when we are talking about combat, complexity, it's normally roll, attack, roll, dodge, attack, you know, this new way of Dark Souls kind of playability. How do you see that? Do you get bored, or you kind of, no, you enjoy it?
Well, the first time, the second time, it's really frustrating because you die a lot. But after you get used, you get really addicted to it. So I think you try, you get better in this. Helps you, us in our skills, you know. So
That's the thing with those games, like
I don't see it as a bad thing.
Okay.
You know, I see it as a positive thing. But of course, if you do not let yourself get stressed with, you know, dying so many times, you need to be persistent in some games. Of course, there are some games that are impossible, but I think it's always possible if you try in a different way.
Yeah. I will confess something. Whenever that happens, I go straight to YouTube. After I lose like 2 minutes, I say, how to pass blah, 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 blah. I've done this with... Man, Dark Souls, I couldn't go after a bridge like, right at the beginning because the skeletons, they would shoot a lot of arrows on me. And like, you die. I know that, you know. So
It's kind of frustrating, but it happens, you know.
But then I got the dopamine rush, like, oh, I beat this boss, and
Exactly. That's a good feeling.
oh my god, we are running out of time already. Man, it felt like 10 minutes chatting with you, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Without giving spoilers, okay? I need to ask this. Could you give some Easter eggs that are on the Mario movie? I think you'll make a little list there, right?
All right. I have watched this movie recently. It was amazing. I was expecting something good, and I really got something good. Yeah, I laughed a lot. It has this humor and a lot of good references. I remember from the first part of the movie that Mario was really frustrated about something. He was playing Nintendo. This was really amazing. A lot of plot twists on the story, like Mario is late for a client and he's running with Luigi, and then he got in a part that he got I took a note here actually because I couldn't get the name, the flagpole. He got that, and then there is a store next to this flagpole that it says Castle. The historic name Castle, and it was a really nice reference because I remember that as it was yesterday.
I haven't watched it. How is the vibe of the movie? It does it have like that Shrek animation vibe, like it's an animation that is meant for adults? You have those subtle humor things as well.
Yeah, you have the humor parts. It's not excessive, and it's really nice because it's also emotional. It also talks about the binding of the brothers. Like
cool.
He cares really much about Luigi, and he's really brave. So he goes after everything, and I think this willingness of saving his brother, it's something really nice. And they are I don't see any exceedings in this movie. I see only good things.
So it's a fun service in the best possible way.
For me, yeah, I agree with that.
It's a bit, and since you love Mario so much, I'm gonna watch it. Right. I still have to watch the Sonic ones as well. Mauricio told me the second one is better, and Jim Carrey's there. I really like him. So I will. Thanks, man. Before we wrap it up, do you want to say anything to our listeners? Some of your students are here, I think. Okay. Hi, Andre. Hi, Victor. Ney as well. You're a popular guy, man.
Thank
Felipe,
you for
hi,
being here,
Felipe.
guys.
Mauricio as well here. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Lucy Mark here. I tried Mortal Kombat 11 ranked matches, and man, don't do that. You get those people that I have. Maybe they are AI. They only do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Commandos, people say old one as well. Okay. Wanna say a message, man, to our listeners?
Well, guys, I think video games are a big and have a big important part in our lives. So this made me what I am nowadays. I learned a lot of things, so that's why I love to talk about it, and I want to say thank you for inviting me here to talk about something that I really love about games in a geek month.
Yeah.
So that fit perfectly for me.
It's true.
And well, that's it. I want to say thank you, and guys, keep playing. All right, if you like playing games, keep playing, because I think this is something that brings up our childhood feeling.
Yeah. Man, I'm totally up for a round 2 about this topic, because 1 hour was not enough.
My students always say, hey teacher, you need a part 2 for this class. So yeah, guys, if you want a part 2 for this podcast, no worries. I'll be really glad.
I will propose a challenge, okay?
All right.
Today is the 10th. If this video has 200 likes until the 13th, we can set a time for a part 2, and
Perfect.
500 views. Okay, that's it. That's the goal until Monday. No, today's Wednesday. So okay, until Friday. Okay,
Guys, I trust you.
Okay, if you want to see a part 2 conversation, 200 likes, 500 views. Okay. Thank you so much, Cadu. And guys, thank you again one more time for being with us in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to like, share, send this to someone that you know that is into games, that is also learning English, okay? I am Maick Ofel, your host. Don't forget, this show is made possible by Times Idiomas, and I hope to see you next week on our episode 7. Bye bye, guys.